So I have noticed, and this is my favorite part about college football. I don't think NFL fans do this the same way that college football fans do because the rivalries are a lot deeper. It's very regional. It's very specific. Florida State fans and Miami fans are really going at one another because Cam Ward had a really nice spring game. Statistically, he had 19 completions for 324 yards and 3 touchdowns. Great performance. Florida State fans are making fun of him for getting a little too excited about that by saying, congrats, when was the last time you did anything on the field that was actually recognizable during the regular season?
Florida State fans better calm down because I remember 3 years ago you were the exact same way.
Yes. I just want to push back on those Florida State fans by saying, when was the last time a quarterback looked as good as Cam Ward did in the spring game? He looked really good. Now, he had a couple overthrows and a couple misfired passes, but they have not had a talent at quarterback anywhere near the stratosphere level of Cam Ward. And I'm just saying, he's going to put the college football world on notice. I'm not saying that this game is the indicator of he's going on his Heisman run. Oh my God, look at this game. But we need to stop trying to diminish what he did during this performance.
So Shannon Dawson, who was at Southeastern Louisiana, believe it or not, is their offensive coordinator. I've known him since 2001. I like Shannon a lot. Talking about Miami. So Joe, here's the conversation that we'll continue to have the entire offseason. Talent-wise, I think that dude on dude, pause, but dude versus dude, you can make the pretty strong argument that they are as talented as anybody in the ACC. The way that Mario has recruited, the way that they have started to develop some of these guys, they have a crap load of talent. The question becomes, does Mario hold them back from a coaching aspect? He has recruited it at a really good level. I do agree with you on Cam Ward looking good. How much do you equate that, right? Because how much do you equate him and that being a spring game? But they got talent everywhere. Joe, I don't know if they can't win the ACC. And look, I've seen it too. I've seen Florida State fans getting onto them, preferably our good man TJ Pittenger, who covers Florida State. Look, man, I don't know if they're not the most talented team in the ACC. From a roster standpoint, they got elite dudes. I just don't know if Mario can take them over the hump, which will always be the question.
Well, and that has always been the thing with Mario when he was at Oregon, and then now that he's at Miami, is actually actualizing the talent on the field, is getting them to play at the level, their ceiling. Right. He has done a really good job of stockpiling talent through the portal, through recruiting. They have so much potential. There is so much upside for their capability. And you're talking about where when comes time for us to make these ACC picks, it might be a sweep across the board of us both picking Miami. But there's a big, big if on there. If Mario can get the job done in terms of effectively preparing these guys during fall camp for the start of the season. And there's been a step forward in the spring game. I think that we saw a noticeable, tangible improvement during the spring game, but there is still another step that needs to be taken in order for them to get to that spot that we're talking about here, which is winning the ACC.
I think that they, for what it's worth, I think that they, from top to bottom on both lines of scrimmage, are the best in the ACC, which is why I like them a lot. Mm-hmm. I think they're better at receiver. Okay, I think that they're better at DB. I think they're better at linebacker. They got edge dudes. They got interior defensive linemen. Joe, I got to ask you a question here about Miami. Where's their weakness? On field, not coaching, where is their weakness?
Maybe they're secondary because they're replacing Cam Kitchens and 2 safeties, but that's the only thing I can think of. That's really it. And they have Ruben Bain on coming off the edge, who's looked really good, and then they've got a number of 4 or 5 stars that are sophomores that are going to come up and play. Their offensive line lost a couple of guys, but again, 4 and 5 stars across the board. Samson Okunlola and Francis Malinois. That group, that offensive line, might be better than last year.
They're going to put out a couple guys in the NFL
last year.
far better than last
They're
year.
losing 2 or 3 guys, I'm pretty sure, which is insane to say. That's crazy. That's nuts that a team could get better after putting 3 guys in the NFL.
You know what's sad though? We're talking about this and still have questions about him because of their head coach and his ability to coach on the field.
Look, before we move off from Miami, that has always been one of my biggest criticisms of any team led by Mario. It's one of the few coaching situations where I've like been given context on how he's like, because I've talked to multiple people that have been at different stops that he's been at, either
Right.
played with him or were a part of certain departments that were interacting with the team. And the over hands-on nature, that the way that he coaches, like he is overboard. Like he needs to take I think that if he wants to be successful, he needs to take a step back and needs to be better about like, okay, I'm a really good recruiter. I need to let my coaches coach.
He
I need
needs
to
to
let the
Orgeron it.
Yes, I need to let the social media department do their job and not, micromanage them. I need to let the players be a little bit more relaxed. I've heard some not like heinous bad things, but I've just heard some crazy shit where like you think of bad bosses you've had and you're like, oh my God, that's way too much that he's doing. So if he takes that step back, that's where they ultimately get to their success.
We'll see, man. I have. It's crazy because I don't sit in the middle with them. I don't think that they can go 9-3. I think that they're going to be 10-2, 11-1, or they're going to be 7-5.
That's the perfect way to put them. That is the perfect way to put them.
There's no in between with Mario, and I think that I'm leaning more to them getting to 10 wins than I am them getting to 7-5, because this team walks out of bed in the ACC. That team wakes up out of bed and they're going to win 7 games next year without question. By the way, they start off the season with Florida, which we'll get to Florida in a minute. But going into the swamp is never easy. So they open up with a big one.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions, with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.